In the name of Amen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord, and Amen we trust as the Republic of Mentellect, the true 144,000 is being gathered in this day and time, the real new covenant, that's NEW, the real new covenant going forward in this day and time. Good evening, I'm your host, the intellectual ᴘᴏ ᴇᴅᴜᴄ, and this is Mentellect Radio, and tonight we're going to be asking the question and answering the question, can money, education, and politics really help black people at this point? Can it? Answer is no. The answer is no. Money, education, politics can't help black people. Can't. Black people want to throw false solutions at a problem that will have no ending because black people refuse to address the real issue. They refuse to address the real issue of why they are in so much trouble here in the society today and in all other societies around the world. They refuse to address the real issue. They want to talk about racism. They want to talk about money. They want to talk about more education. And all that sounds good. Nothing but a Band-Aid on a cut that's going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. You're putting a Band-Aid on it. You're treating the problem instead of curing the problem. Okay? Coming at people with culture, religion, money, education, politics, right? You had some very successful people back in the day who thought that this would be the answer to black people. And you so-called conscious people and you educated people who know this group of people going back to 1921, with the formation of Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where they thought that money, education, politics would help them back then. And it didn't. What ended up happening is, well, you already know the rest of the story. Because they forgot who they were around, number one, and they weren't really together. They got comfortable. And black people, once they start to make money, once they start to get educated, once they start to enter the political arena, they get comfortable. They think that their life is secure here in this society. They really start to believe that. They really believe this. That you have black people in this society with money. You have black people who have political positions. Hell, you've had a black president. Educated black people here, doctors, lawyers, right? Scientists, engineers. You got all kinds of educated black people here in this country, right? Yet, black people still have no handle on their situation. They are no better off than they were when they were in slavery. Like they said, black people at the turn of the century only control 1% of this nation's wealth. And now here in 2016, they're still at 1%. Black men have dropped out of school, stopped being educated, and your black woman is surpassing black men in education so much so that she no longer thinks that the black man is a viable mate for her. So she's looking to other races. I talked about this the other night. Right? Society tells the black woman that she no longer needs the black man by her side because of her education and opportunity she was given by Caucasians in this society. Don't ever get to this idea, this illusion in your head that you climbed up on your own bootstraps and you worked hard. Someone always gives you a chance. Someone gave you black women a chance that they're not willing to give black men. And this all happens for a reason. Because nobody's going to give the so-called black man a chance here. The black man is a threat in this society. Even when you are trying to act as though you are going to just go along to get along, you are still a threat here. Your genetics are a threat. Your mentality is a threat. What you could possibly do, what you are possibly linked to is a threat. You are the unknown. You are the people in the shadows, in the darkness, which is why they call you black people. They refer to you as black people partly as a counterpart to Caucasians in their sanitized version of themselves that they want to portray, and they refer to you as their dirty underbelly, the dirty foundation in which they stand on, the dirt. But the other part of the blackness, or the reference to black, is unknown, absent of light, unpredictable. So when you have people who are walking around here in the society, because like I said, they already know what the white man's going to do. They already know the mentality of the white man. They know the mentality of the East Indians. They know the mentality of the Asians. They know the mentality of every race of people on the planet within the human race. The only people they do not know is the so-called black man and black woman. And when you do not know, nor can you predict the way of thinking, the direction of a people, what do? You create that path for them. You put things in their way and you call it opportunity when it's actually an obstacle. I'm going to say this again in case you didn't hear me. You put things in their way and you call it opportunities when it was really meant to be an obstacle. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, when they give you an education, when they give you money, when they include you in their political process, they're actually doing it to control you. They're doing it to control you. They're not doing it to give you an opportunity or a hand up. They are doing it to control you. Because if I give you the opportunity, I can take the opportunity away. If I tell you that you do not have to use your own intelligence, if I tell you you do not have to make your own way in the world and do things for yourself, that I got you. I got you. Don't worry about it. You need that job? I got you. You need some money? You want to get educated? I got you. You want to enter the political arena? You'd be a good congressman, a good senator? I got you. But it's always strings attached to everything. It's strings attached to their money. There's strings attached to the education. There's strings attached to the politics. Always. And you are always going to be the puppets on the strings, black man and black woman. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care if you Oprah Winfrey rich, Bill Cosby rich, Jay-Z rich, or you Negroes that's trying to come up in the world trying to get rich like Oprah Winfrey, Jay-Z, and Bill Cosby. There's always strings, and when there's strings, you're the puppet attached to the end of the strings. They're not trying to make opportunities for you. They're trying to create obstacles so that you do not think past anything in this world yourself. See, all of it is directed at keeping you from using your mind to make it in the world. Because if I constantly give you something, if I constantly give you handouts, right, then you're not going to use your own mind to maneuver and to do things, to think of things, to develop a survival way of thinking, to maneuver through the world. You're not going to do that. Because you're going to always think, oh, well, I can go to school and I could take this up, and then when I get out, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get a job doing this. I'm an intern doing that. You know, I'm going to get this opportunity that's being handed to me or given to me, or I got this idea that I'm really working hard to get this opportunity. When it's not. They'll watch you work hard, think it's an opportunity, because that means that when they see you working hard, when they see you that you're willing to put in hours, time, whatever, interning, going to school, whatever the case may be, their mindset is, well, if they have this much ambition, this person has this much ambition to go through all this schooling, go through all this education, go through training, go through everything, then that person has a will to make it in the world. And if that person has a will to make it in the world without us, then that person can surpass us. That person can outthink us. So what do? We give them a job. We give them an education. We give them, we bring them into the political arena. We give them money. Right? Like I said before, what do they give these people in the entertainment industry money for? So that you can influence people. They're using you so that you can influence people. but it's never to your benefit. Nor do, when you get this money, when you receive this money, this education, it doesn't never really benefit you, nor does it benefit your people. It doesn't benefit you or your people. The education, the money, the politics does nothing. You don't find this strange. This does nothing to benefit black people. All the things y'all keep talking about that's going to, that you chase after, the money, the education, the politics, it don't benefit black people. Oprah Winfrey's a billionaire. I keep bringing this out. She's a billionaire. She's a billionaire. She's a billionaire. Where's her independent television network at? And I'm not talking about OWN, because OWN is not her network. I keep telling you that it's owned by the Discovery Channel. Caucasians. She works for them. She's an employee. And they can fire her anytime they want to. And they can keep running their own network without her. Magic Johnson. The Aspire Network. He's a millionaire, billionaire. They'll give you all this money to play with. They'll give you credits. But they can always stop your money at any time. They can discontinue your network. They just give you enough luxury so that you can go shopping, live in a nice neighborhood, and drive a nice car. You don't really own nothing with your money or your wealth that you believe you have. You don't really own anything. Even when you guys get franchises like Dunkin' Donuts, because, you have these Negroes getting into Dunkin' Donuts and stuff like that, right? And when you get these franchises and things like that, I mean, it's a good investment. It's a good money and whatnot. But you still have to work within the confines of that corporation. You still don't really have any power. You don't. You don't have any power. Right? You have some money, and you have the ability to take your money and spend it and give it right back to the white man, because that's all you're doing with it. You make all this money. You don't build no corporations for your people. You do nothing with the money. You don't fix up your community, your neighborhood, nothing. Right? You don't do nothing for your people. And the reason you do nothing for your people is because you don't know what to do with it for yourself. I said this with black people. The only reason black people ain't got no money because you don't know what to do with it anyway. Even when you go out here and talk about get money, all you're going to do is give it back to the white man. What are you going to do with the money? Right? You're going to buy some cars. You're going to buy some houses. Right? You have to pay property tax on the house. You have to pay car insurance. Everything you do when you start spending the money becomes a liability. Everything becomes a liability with your money. Everything. Except your clothes. Right? You'll buy all these clothes. You might buy some land. You try to farm some land, whatnot. But everything is going to survival. That's it. All you really doing is paying bills. You don't really own the land. You don't really own your house because you got to pay property tax. You don't own anything. I keep saying this. It's an illusion that you chase. You're renting your life. You are renting your life here. This is what they got you doing. They got you renting your life. That education that you got to pay for. You'll pay $100,000 for an education, right? And then you get out and you got to get a job. Rarely do you see black people going to school to become a doctor, surgeon, things like that that's needed, nurse, skills. You don't do that. You go to school for the easiest things so you can get out and get a job. And then when there's no jobs for you, what are you going to do? That was $100,000 down the drain. You permanently, after spending $100,000, you sign yourself into slavery. You sign yourself into bondage. Why do I say that? Because, like I said, having a job is like bondage. It's a form of bondage. And some of you are not trying to get off the plantation. It's like being in bondage. Because these people, and like I said, these people can fire you anytime they want to, right? And there's nothing you can do about it. And you go to school to have a so-called career that is not, there's no real security in it at all. They tell you go to school to get a career and there's no real security in it. They steer you away from things where you can be independent, right? Where you're going to always be needed. They steer you away from that. I was always so proud of my mother when she went to school to become a nurse because they always know what, no matter where she goes, she always can work. Wherever she go with that license, it's like gold. She can work. And you got a medical license, you can work. Even if you got to set up your own practice, she can do private duty. So that's gold. You have a few things out here where you'll be able to take care of yourself, but still in all, it's an individual move. It's an individual move. Investments, the best investments are in your community. When you have your people together, when you're working for, of, and by your people, and y'all working together, that's the best investment to have in your people. But black people don't believe in practicing national community economics. They don't believe in that. Now, when I say community, I don't mean the black community no longer. I no longer mean the so-called black community, because there's no black community, and there's no black economics to be practiced. So I'm not going to sit here and start lying to you like black people all of a sudden going to wake up and start working together and doing things together. They're not doing that. It's a lot of talk. They're not going to do it. Right? You see what happened in Black Wall Street, and the truth of the matter is that thing started unraveling before the white man got to it. You know how you know that? Because whenever you put a bunch of black people together and one thinks one is going to get more than the other, you start taking things apart slowly. Things start unraveling slowly. You see the community starting to fold. See, that type of thing is always created amongst so-called black people, that kind of rift, whether it's from the outside or the in. That rift is always created with black people so that somebody can come in and take the whole thing down. You look into what what led up to the thing in Tulsa, Oklahoma with Black Wall Street. Same thing with Garvey. I bet you there was infighting. They was letting people come in their neighborhood, giving people loans. I heard white people was even coming to them for loans at their banks. And you get comfortable. You get comfortable when you start to think that you can do a shift in the society that this society is not ready for. This is a shift in the society that this society is not ready for, that these people tried to create back then. Because, truth be told, there was no real community. There was no real community. Community means your only and sole interest is in that collective within your area. Those people who think like you do, believe the way you believe, follow what you follow. No divisions at all. No divisions. Strong people. Mentally strong. See, black people don't have that. That's why if you notice, when they get to a certain point and they living in black neighborhoods, they want to get out the black neighborhood or what they call the hood, and they want to go live around white people. Because the reason black people want to live around white people or mixed people and whatnot, because they feel more of a community vibe coming from those people who traditionally have a community mindset. But they don't necessarily want black people around them because they know black people don't have a community mindset. They tend to know black people don't have that. Because if you can't build communities amongst your own self where you live at, how are you going to do it anyplace else? Now, I'm going to give you a good example of this. In Harlem, and Bed-Stuy, in Detroit, New Orleans, and these places that were known for being hoods and ghettos, L.A. or Compton, all these other places. These places that are known for being hoods and notorious drug dens and, places that were virtual hell on earth for black people, with gangs running through there, shooting up the neighborhood, selling drugs and everything else. Now, the white man will come in there, bring the police in there, lock all them Negroes up, push all the Negroes out, and next thing you know, it'll be a beautiful community. It'll be a nice community. Stores will come there like nothing happened. Because white people, when they decide to do something, they move like a community. See, they all working together. The banks, the homeowners, right? The business people, they work together. They are one big community. They are one big community. When you see a white person move in your neighborhood, don't ever think it's just one white person. Because trust me, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 more of them are coming, and they know each other. They're getting to know each other. They want to make sure they have connections amongst each other, amongst the natives. You being the natives, until the community or the neighborhood is totally flipped around. Until it is totally flipped in their favor. they always come as a community. Money for black people is a trap. Why do I say that? Because it gives you a false sense of security. You actually believe that your money means something. You actually think that you can really do things with your money other than pay bills. I mean, it comes in handy, don't get me wrong. It comes in handy to pay bills, keep your lights on, pay your rent, pay your property tax, pay your car note, buy some clothes, buy some food, pay your cable bill, right? Your cell phone bill. Notice I mentioned all bills, right? After all that's done, what else you going to do with your money? What else black people going to do with their money? After all that's done. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They're going to go shopping. They're going to buy some clothes. They're going to buy jewelry. They're going to buy this stuff. Like the black woman that hit the lottery in South Carolina or North Carolina, wherever she at, all the millions of dollars, she don't know what the hell to do with it. She don't know what to do with it. Absolutely no idea on what to do with that money. I can already tell you she probably done went on a bunch of shopping sprees, bought like probably 6 cars sitting in her damn driveway. She probably bought a half-ass house, right? Just throwing the money away, just basically spending up and throwing and consuming, giving it right back to the white man. No company's going to get built with that. None of her people are going to get employed. Nothing. She's not going to do anything with the money. She's not even going to buy any land, at least for to grow food on, so she can teach her children how to grow food. Because, like I said, all you really doing is renting the land. You don't own the land here. You're renting the land. They're allowing you to grow food on the land to feed yourself and pay property tax on it. But they own the land. They got those guns, and they will turn them on you if they want you off that land. So they'll let you live there. So never get the illusion that your money really bought you that land. It bought you the right to utilize that land, right? But you still got to pay the price for it, property tax. This is a false sense of security. This is a false sense of security. The education, as I said, is set up so that you get your so-called education and you turn around and go work for them and serve them. The very people that built this country were not educated people. They were not educated people, the people who built this country. Your Rockefellers, your Rothschilds, your J.P. Morgans, they wasn't educated people. They weren't. They weren't Ivy League people. They let their children go to school later, just as to be a pedigree to say that their children went to some prestigious university, but they gave lots of money just so they can have it say that their children went to these schools. But they don't really believe in education because they really know what education is for. They know that education is basically to brainwash people, to fit them into a system that they're building, right? To micromanage your way of thinking. Now, I'm not speaking against education, don't get me wrong. But the things you get educated in is a waste of time. You need to learn how to treat wounds, heal people. The best person you could have learned from, black people could have learned from all the 80-something years he was here was Dr. Sebi. You need to learn how to heal people, treat wounds, tend to sick people, heal people, right? Get people out of trouble, become like real lawyers when your people got to get in trouble. Necessities. You need to learn how to farm land, grow food. Even if you're teaching your little daughters and sons how to plant seeds, try to make sure you don't get the Monsanto seeds. Learn how to plant, grow things, treat wounds, fix things, right? Useful things. Fix cars, machinery, grow food, trades, electrician. That's the thing y'all need to learn. Electrical, refrigeration, plumbing, nursing. The things that a community needs. The things that a community needs. Grow food. Send food to the community. The community is the answer, not the individual with the money. The individual with the money is not the answer. The community collectively is the answer, even if there is no money. Even if the money dries up and they say, oh, no more money for y'all. Those people in the community can still take care of themselves. They can survive. They can survive. They know how to grow food in their damn house. They know how to plant food in their house. They can plant food in their gardens, in their backyard. They have farmland somewhere. They can survive. They can treat each other. They don't have to leave their community. They know how to teach your daughters how to and your sons how to make clothes. You understand? Things like that. Simple things. Raise skilled people. Raise skilled people who know how to do things. See, black people don't want to be skilled people. Black people want to go to school and get a damn job. They want to get a transit job. They want to get a bus driver job. They want to get city jobs. And this ain't no shout out to city workers. Don't get me wrong. It's not no shout out to city workers. Y'all don't want to get skills. Real skills, things that you can need. Like I said, trade schools, electrical work. They become master electricians. Carpentry work where you can build things. Where when I walk by a construction site, I don't just see Mexicans building stuff. I see brothers up there cutting and measuring and building stuff, not just carrying bricks. It's a lot of things y'all could do, but these things are useful in a community. See, like I said, you could take the money away, but you got people who know how to sew. You got people who know how to do electrical work. Black people used to know how to do stuff like this. We know how to do stuff like this. You had people who was doctors and they got into the doctor stuff and the lawyer stuff later, but they know how to do carpentry work, electrical work, things that you need to run a community. Things that you really need to run a community, but black people are not community minded. That's the problem. Black people are not community minded at all. So you're going to get some people who feel like, oh, well, I'll just get this education. I'll go out here and get this money. And once I get this money, then I'm going to be set. I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be a billionaire. Obstacles. You think Oprah Winfrey or Jay-Z or somebody, they would have came back and said, you know what? I got millions of dollars. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open up a trade school in my neighborhood. I want these young brothers to learn how to do electrical work. I want these young brothers to learn how to do plumbing work and become master plumbers. He could have got a grant from the city to do that. Right in the Marcy Projects where he came from, his money, he could have been like, you know what? These young brothers, I don't want them getting locked up and going to jail and hustling and doing all this. It could be the Sean Carter Technical Institute for electrician and carpentry. He could have did that. Oprah Winfrey could have did that in her city. A lot of these young guys sitting around shooting and killing each other and doing stuff because they ain't got nothing better to do. They ain't got no jobs. They selling drugs. They ain't got no jobs. They ain't got nothing to do. So at least when you go out here and do what you do to get your money, bend over, kiss ass, be Uncle Toms and Aunt Jemimas, at least you can use that money to open up things like this for your people. You ain't got to put up all the money. You can get a grant from the city if you can. Or, matter of fact, forget the grant from the city. When you have people like Minister Farrakhan doing million-man marches and stuff like that, that's supposed to be money being handed forward to fund programs like that. You're supposed to fund your own programs. Oh, that's right. The money don't get to those programs because it got to go in the organizers of the million-man marches pockets. It got to go in their pockets. So they can turn around and buy nice suits, $1,000 suits, and Mercedes-Benzes and limousines and things. That's because that's important. That's important. They can't say, you know what, we're going to hire some of the best carpenters, electricians, so these brothers could get skilled out here. So they can build a community, they can build things and whatnot. You can always work. But see, when you're not community-minded, your money don't mean nothing. You know why the Jews' money means something? Jews' money means something because they're community-minded no matter where they at. From the Zionists at the top to the Jews at the bottom, their money means something because they're community-minded. They always got a community behind them. They got millions of people behind them. They're community-minded. They're nation-minded. Black people ain't like that. What are black people like? Black people at each other's throat. You see in the so-called conscious community certain people, like I said, the people who are supposed to be preaching, that's how you know the black race is finished. You see people that's supposed to be preaching Pan-Africanism, right? And black power and putting together schools, you see them at each other's throat cursing each other out on YouTube. Right? This is what you see. So you take these people seriously? Does the world take them seriously? Is this who you want to educate your children? Is this who's going to teach your children about community and sticking together? And because in school is supposed to serve as a form of a community. School is supposed to serve as a form of a community. Your sons, your daughters growing up, and they forming a bond, a brotherhood, and a sisterhood, and they not fighting against each other. They working together. But the people that's supposed to be conscious, the people that's supposed to be black power, black supremacy, whatever the hell you say, black, whatever, consciousness, you can look on YouTube and they cursing each other out and calling each other niggas. And these are educated people. These are so-called scholars. These are well-read people doing this. So it makes me wonder, well, really, for the evolution of black people? Or are they working for somebody else? Do they got other interests? It makes me wonder. I'm not going to mention no names. But look at the latest things on YouTube, what people doing. But I thought education can help black people. These people are educated. They got degrees. They accredited. They done wrote papers. They well read. They scholars. Talk about they wrote books. They scholars. They studied the black. They studied the so-called black scholars like Dr. Ben Yakin and all of them. And these guys up on YouTube cursing each other out. Right? They cursing each other out, calling each other niggas. Would you ever see the Jews doing that? Would you ever see the Jews when they mad at each other up on YouTube calling each other kikes? Would you see them doing that? Or the so-called racial slurs Jews got for each other? You would never see them doing that. You would never see them doing that. Even if they don't like each other, they ain't never going to get out here and disrespect each other like that. They ain't going to do that. Because they know it's counterproductive to what they're working toward. That's why I say education, money, politics don't help black people. Because you throw these things, at your problem. You throw these things at your problem. You're going to keep throwing these things at your problem. You're going to keep trying to put this on your problem that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger by every 10 years, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The division, the cliques and the divisions, right? And the people are dividing themselves by political lines, educational lines. The black woman saying, "Oh, I got more education than the black man. I don't want to be with a black man. I got my degree and I'm educated and I made my way in the world." And she really believed that. She really believed that she got something going in the world. But see, because of pride and false ideas that are planted in your head in a socially engineered society, you start to believe that, especially the black woman. She'll believe that. I don't need no black man. I'm just gonna be with a man who loves me, who on my level, who's doing things in the world. And that was the plan. Because the people that gave you these opportunities, the people that made it for you black women to go to college, because that's the first thing they did. They pushed black women into the colleges first. Because that was always the plan in the social engineering and things, to get the black women educated. Because they know once they get the black women educated, they're going to turn on the black men. This is why Oprah Winfrey went and she built a school in Africa for women only, for black girls. But she didn't do nothing here in Chicago, where she's from, for black boys and girls. She didn't do that. She built a school away in Africa for black girls. So it makes you wonder, is she really playing on the home team? Is her money, is she really thinking about the evolution of black people, or is she about herself and got a whole nother agenda? But she got money, right? She can flash money in your face and show you her big house, her cars, her jewelry, her all these other things. But you can't eat her cars. You can't eat her jewelry. You can't eat her house. You can't do any of these things. You can't put clothing on your back from looking at her house, or feed your people, or take care of the things that they need in society. But you impressed by possessions. Black people are more impressed by possessions than community. Community don't mean nothing to black people. Possessions do. Possessions. That's really all you want money for possessions. You don't want it because, I'm turned on with the idea of building a community. You don't want it for that. You want it so that you can say, this is what I got. This is what I got. This is what I got. I got my education. I got this money, broke ass nigga. Right? You ain't got nothing. I did this. I did that. That don't sound like community to me. That don't sound like black power and black community and black nation. That sounds like an individualistic Negro. That's what that sounds like. Something that black people suffer from. Individuality. Because they think as long as I can get money on my own, as long as I can get my education, as long as I can get some kind of political hookup like a lot of you Moors, you special. You think you special. Well, they showing you how special you Moors are, right? 100 years in the game and y'all ain't got nothing. You don't have no stores. You don't have no land. You don't have no property. Going up in the courtroom losing. Because y'all not a real community. Nobody recognizes you as a real community. You only recognize yourselves that way. But you got to have an actual community. Y'all big on talking about, well, where's your nation at? And what is your nationality and where's your nation at? Where y'all nation at? Where y'all community at? Y'all don't have one. Because you put politics over that. You put politics over community. Put education over community. You put money over community. You put culture, religion, right? Science over the community. But see, when the white man does all of this, it's always with a community in back of it. Notice the Jewish community, the financial community, the FBI and the CIA, that's the intelligence community, right? The theological society, the theological community. That means it's a group of people working together. That's what that means. That means it's a group of people working together to keep a hold on things, to keep things structured, to keep certain people out, to serve each other and work for other and by each other. See, this is what black people are going to keep missing. Much as they talk about we got to come together, y'all don't think like that. Black people are not programmed to think like that. You're programmed to be individuals and be against each other, just by the very name that you have, African, from the word faraka, which means to divide or separate. And then Africa is a continent with many different countries in it. So when you call yourself an African already, you can say, I'm an African from here, I'm an African from there, I'm from here. So there's already division. And once you add that division in with money, you add that division in with division in with the mindset of money. You add that division in with the mindset of education, with the mindset of politics. What do you get? You get Negroes like Barack Obama and all these other black politicians who ain't going to do a damn thing for you. They're not going to do nothing for you because they thinking about themselves. You're not they people. They people is the people that put them in office, that community of people that put them in office. That's their people. The gay community put Barack Obama in office. That's why he did stuff for the gays. The Jewish community put Barack Obama in office, gave him money. That's why he do stuff for them. You ain't did nothing as no black people. All you did was try to claim a victory that had nothing to do with you because he already said you're not his people. He's an African. His people wasn't slaves. He said it himself. He said Michelle Obama's got the blood of slaves in her. Not him. His people was never slaves. So he already don't think of you as his people. Never did. So it don't mean nothing not to do nothing for you. And then he don't recognize y'all as no real community anyway. You know, he don't recognize y'all as no real community because y'all don't recognize yourself that way. That's why when one of you get money, right, you say stupid stuff like, well, you know, I got mine, get yours, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Now, I done heard many so-called educated, many so-called black leaders out here, black luminaries out here say that. I done heard many so-called black luminaries Talking about I got mine, get yours. Right? Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. In other words, nigga, I ain't trying to help you. I ain't trying to help you. That's the mentality that's been bred in black people. That's why I said I don't want to have nothing to do with black people. I said the bright race all the way. We got to start fresh, and we'll take the people out who don't think like this, who are not poisoned like this mentally. We'll take our people out who are thinking on a whole nother level. Community, real community. One mind, one body, one soul of people. One collective mind, one collective body, and one collective soul of people. Black people don't think like that. So when they get money, money don't mean nothing. Money doesn't mean anything. They don't know what to do with it. And they're more interested in giving it back to white people to prove that they can afford to be around white people, that they can afford to buy what white people are selling. And that is, in their mindset, what's the word I want to say? Acceptance. Right? Validation. See, when black people spend money on expensive clothes, jewelry, cars, and things like that, they're trying to buy validation. They're trying to say, I'm just as good as you white people are who got this stuff. You know, that's why you go overboard. You get some money, you want to ball out. You'll sell each other out for it and everything because you think like individuals. And then once you get all that money, then it's only a matter of time before it's all going out of your hand. It's only a matter of time. It's rare that you see any sort of riches that are accumulated by black people going into another generation. It's very rare that you see that. And you know where it started in one generation, right? Where it started in one generation, it's usually not going to go and transfer into the next generation. It's not going to do that. If that money's not going to make it into the next generation. Because whatever money the first generation made, the second generation going to blow it. Right? The second generation going to blow it. This is why, like I said, you got people who think that money is the answer. It's not the key. It's only good if you have it as a collective group of people and you're thinking community-minded. If you're thinking community-minded. If you're thinking you're actually going to sit down someplace and build a real community together and do things like this, like say, you know what, we're going to make sure that our kids know trades. We're going to make sure our daughters are going over here. We're going to put money into a school that we're going to build for our kids. That's when the money means something, like how the Jews do. We're going to make sure we're going to educate our children. We're going to make the curriculum. We're not going to depend on people to educate our children. We're not going to have fools coming up here to educate our children, whether they're in blackface or whiteface. Because that's the most valuable thing you got, your children. Your children. See, the white man know that he knows. If nobody don't know it, the white man know the most valuable thing he could take from you. The most valuable thing you got is your children. I'm talking about you so-called black people. He know your children are valuable. Y'all ain't valuable. Y'all children are. See, because that represents years of brainwashing. That represents years of future brainwashing that he can do on your children. That's what that represents. Your children represent years of brainwashing because they already know some of y'all got a certain way of thinking set in your mind already. But he knows down the line, if he can get your kids in the schools, right? If he can get them educated, right? A.k.a. trained. If he can get them educated and trained, hell, within this next generation, your sons are going to be homosexuals. Your daughter's going to be lesbians. Your daughters ain't going to like black men no more, right? She going to be going looking for a white man to get with. They already know that your children's minds are priceless. It's as fertile as a garden. They could plant all kinds of things in here to derail the evolution of your people. They know that. They know this. And you got these so-called Negroes out here who are helping. Even the so-called conscious are helping the devil. They helping these beasts destroy your children. Because every time your kids turn on the thing and they see them cursing each other out, arguing on YouTube, they see these Negroes acting like a bunch of hip-hop world star coons. They already know. They got it on lock. Their job is going to get a lot easier. Their job is going to be a whole lot easier to poison the minds of your children. And don't think these people are not on payroll, that they don't have other interests in getting up here and doing this YouTube hustle and shuffle dance. This fighting amongst each other, this infighting. Everything is anti-community. They're talking black community, but everything they do is anti-community. They're talking conscious community, but everything they do is anti-community. Everything. Everything is anti-community. This foolishness? You still want to put up with this foolishness within the so-called black race? I know I don't. I'm not. God damn it, I walked out. And I said, we'll start all over again. We'll take the bright ones, our people, and we'll say this is the bright race over here. We'll start all over. Over here, separate from the black race. Because black people want to keep the foolishness going. They actually want to live in that delusional world where they believe their money matters, their education matters, and politics is going to help them. They really believe that. They kept hope alive for Jesse Jackson, Barack Obama, the next congresswoman, the next congressman up in Harlem, your black congressman, your black congressmen, your black congresswomen who's selling Harlem out, selling Detroit out, selling all your areas out to white people. Breaking up your communities. Well, y'all never had no community, but whatever little neighborhood y'all had, they're going to replace it with white communities. Well, white people really stick together. They're going to replace it because, like I said, your politicians, they all for themselves. They got that same black mentality y'all got. We all for ourselves. We for self. We for self. We for self. You Negroes in the conscious community, y'all for self, man. Y'all for yourself. Why you think y'all got all them debates going? Because y'all for self. It should never be no debates. Ain't nothing that deep to be arguing over. Y'all ain't none of y'all talking about nothing. Y'all, what y'all should be talking about is how y'all could come together collectively and raise something, a new community up. But that is not your mindset. You understand? That's not your mindset. And you know why that's not your mindset? Because, again, you think all I got to do is get some money. All I got to do is get me some money. All I got to do is, do for myself. All I got to do is stunt on niggas, get this paper, right? Get people to look at me and want to worship me and be like me, have all this money in my bank account that the white man can push one button and all that money in your bank account is gone. All that money in your GoFundMe accounts are gone. All that money in your PayPal accounts are gone. Y'all are one step away, you so-called black people with money, are one IRS audit away from losing everything. Even if you say you paid all your taxes, they don't care about that. They don't care. All they got to do is push one button. And that's all. That's all. One button is all it takes. So how secure are you? How secure are you? All they got to do is vote one person out of the politics of your political office. Because once they get to Capitol Hill, once they get to D.C., they ain't trying to help you. They trying to get in with those senators and congressmen up on Capitol Hill, wherever they going. They trying to get up there. They want to be part of that club. They don't care about you. They want to be in with the elites. They trying to see what they can get. You understand? They're not thinking about you as a community. But trust and know, when the Jews elect a Jewish congressman, black, white, whatever, whoever they elect, a Jew, trust me, that Jew is thinking about his community. He's thinking about Israel. He's thinking about the Jewish communities. He's thinking about wherever he come from. He's thinking about his community. You black politicians, they ain't thinking about y'all. I got mine. Get yours. That's what he thinking about. That's what she thinking about. And he thinking about, I got mine. Get yours. They don't even want to talk to you. How is it that you got all these black politicians and you ain't got no stores in your neighborhood? They ain't say, well, you know what? We're going to make sure we're going to get an initiative going with black people own stores in the neighborhood, in their own neighborhoods. They ain't saying that. Everybody else can come here and own stores. That don't tell you something? They not saying, you know what, we ain't gonna have these people. We're gonna let black people own the real estate in their area. We ain't gonna have these people come in and buying up all the real estate. That's not fair that they got a monopoly on the real estate. But y'all don't step up like no community. But yet you want to talk about politics and you want to talk about money. You want to talk about education. Your education, your politics, and your money don't mean a damn thing. Black people as individuals don't mean nothing. And now as a group, it don't mean nothing. Because I already know majority of this going to fall on deaf ears. Majority of what I'm saying is going to fall on deaf ears. The truth usually falls on the ears of those who believe. Because in the word believe, you see the word lie. And y'all want to hear lies. But I'm not going to lie to you tonight. I ain't never lied to you. And over these 800 some odd broadcasts, I ain't going to start. I knew y'all wouldn't mind that. That is a track called Peace of Mind by a brother by the name of Idris Muhammad. I think they did that in the 70s. That is a hot track. I had to add it to the Mentellect Radio playlist because, we got to, we have a high taste in music. I was always told I have very good taste in music. Got a good ear for it, so I had to definitely put it on the list. That just cleared my mind out. Anyway, the people who will say, who took black people in the 40s, 50s, and 60s away from these skilled jobs of, labor and things like that. Like I said, electricians, you even had black men who were gunsmiths, knew how to make guns. Gunsmiths, electricians, technical things like that. Carpenters, plumbers, right? Nursing. These are things that are definitely needed in the survival of a people, in the future of a people. These are definitely needed. Everybody, all your sons should know how to do some form of carpentry work. Every black man, every so-called black man should know how to do some form of carpentry work. Iron working, learn how to work and do iron, how to melt and smelt iron, things like that, right? An industrial community, an intelligence community. That's what we advocate in the Republic of Mentellect. See, an intelligence community, a bright community. We don't want to be associated with the so-called black term because we already know that term black, being that it comes from people who did not have our best interests at heart, meant for us to be in the condition we in, and we fell right into it. They meant for us to be in this condition. Right? Like when you take a lion out of the jungle, and you put a lion in a zoo, and you tell a lion, "I'm gonna feed you, right? I'm gonna give you your water, and you no longer have to go out into the wilderness and hunt." Some people will say, "Well, that's a good break for the lion. That's a good break for the lion. That, the lion got free food now. He ain't got to hunt no more. He ain't got to, go find streams to drink out of, or she ain't got to find streams to drink out of. They got these people in the zoo, the caretakers doing everything for them, feeding them, giving them water, everything. But the condition is you're in captivity. They're prisoners. They're slaves. They're slaves and they're in captivity. Right? And their children are going to be born in captivity. And their children are going to be born in captivity. And that's the whole point of it. To domesticate animals. To domesticate you. And a form of domestication is cutting away your intelligence. Your sharp and keen sense to maneuver in the world. Right? Your sharp and keen sense to maneuver in the world. Cutting that away. And once that happens, you can't maneuver in the world. Now, if you let one of those lions out, let's just say the zoo burned down, or they got to just take the zoo. Now, you send one of those lions back into the jungle, they don't know how to live now. They're going to be prey for other animals. They don't know how to survive because they used to getting fed. They used to being behind cages, right? You created an obstacle for them when you did that, when you put them in cages, when you put them behind bars. It's the same way they do in prison, where they'll lock you up and they don't teach you nothing when you in there. No trade, no skills. So then once they got you in there and you locked up, they know that you don't know how to make it out in the world. And a lot of you are not, you conditioned to being locked up. You'll eventually commit a crime and go back. And not because so much you need the money, but you really want to go back to jail. You want to go back into bondage. You want to go back into captivity. Just like the black people on the plantations when they were slaves, when the white man was forced to let them, when they were to the war and they freed the slaves, a lot of them didn't leave. A lot of them stayed on and became sharecroppers. You had some black people that said, look, I don't give a damn how I'm going to make it. I'm not staying up here. We free. We running out of here. But you had a lot of black people that stayed because they ain't know how to take care of themselves. They like, where we going to go? What we going to do? And that's what the slave masters counted on. They know you don't know where to go. They know you don't know what to do. So it was business as usual. You still was in the slave quarter, a lot of y'all. A lot of black people still was in the slave quarters. And they told you was sharing in the and the crop coming up, and you still working and picking the cotton and doing the same thing. But then they made sure you would never get enough money to leave. They made sure that you was going to basically stay in bondage to them because they didn't want to let that whole idea of slavery go. They ain't want to let that idea go. They ain't want you going nowhere. So it's the same thing, really, when they give you education. When they give you an education, they don't want you going nowhere. When they give you money, they don't want you going nowhere. When they bring you into politics, you congressmen, you black senators, whatever, they bring you in, they don't want you going nowhere. They want you right up under their thumb because they see you as an enemy. And what is that famous line in the movie The Godfather? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So when they give Oprah Winfrey and your Jay-Z's and all them, they give them money. They want to keep them close to them because they see Oprah Winfrey as an enemy. She don't think of herself as an enemy because, they chop it up with Oprah. They laugh with her. They come to the house. They eat dinner with these people. They probably did them ceremonies and all that other stuff together. And she thinks she down with them. But they'll never see you as being one of them. So if you're not one of them, you're against them. That's how they see it. You're an enemy. But they know how to deal with their enemy by treating their enemy like a friend, by giving their enemy so-called opportunities, which are really obstacles. That's how they do that. They give you what you think is opportunity, which is really obstacles. They'll give you all the money you want. They'll say, "Oh, can you be the face of this?" Or "Let me buy your company." Or you be the face of, but really they're getting you dependent on their money. They basically buying a slave. They're buying a slave. They want you dependent on it. And a lot of y'all say, "Well, if they pay me enough money, I'll be their slave." And they know that's your mentality. They know it. They know that's your mentality. They know you're not going to take that money and actually build a community amongst your people. They know you ain't going to do that. Of course not. Or if they wouldn't give you the money. They would not give you the money. When you get that money from them, when you sell out, you gotta make it be known that this is a solo mission. We're gonna give you the money, but you can only do but so much with it. It'll be in your bank account. You can get that nice house, you can get that Bentley, you can get that Aston Martin, whatever the hell you get all them clothes, them funny clothes and stuff like that, and go shopping at Whole Foods, all the stuff that you do. But there's a price with that. The price is you have to be an individual, and you can't never help your people. You can't do nothing. If you do something, then all of a sudden your bank account gonna be empty. Them endorsement deals we was giving you gonna stop, right? All that's gonna happen. Or all of a sudden you start trying to get ideas like buy a television network like NBC. Then all of a sudden you raped a whole bunch of white women. You raped a whole bunch of white women. Your career was spotless with us. Then you decide to just try to move on a level like one of us. Can't do that. I think we need to find all them white women you rape and build. What white women I rape? You know all them white women we was giving you at the Playboy Mansion? Them white women we was hooking you up with when you was doing your early comedy skits? We was setting you up, boy. We was taking them pictures. We was writing all these chicks' names down. He's setting you up. Being a white man, always know he sets you up. He sets you up what you call an opportunity, and it's gonna always eventually be an obstacle that he's gonna push you over. It was a setup from day one. They knew what they was doing. But they give you money, you Negroes don't look back. They give you money, and you don't think, why they giving me money? You just get the money and don't look back. I can live over here now. I ain't got to live around these people. I ain't got to worry about bringing the money back and doing nothing with in the community, right? And I know people say, well, you can't do nothing for black people in the community because they don't care about themselves. But that's why you take a chosen group of black people, so-called black people, as we say, the so-called black race, which we were now referring to as the bright race, and you start building the community from there. And you don't worry about those black people who are poisoned mentally. Leave them on the side to die. I'm going to just say it like that. Leave them on the side of the road. They ain't trying to hear nothing. Leave them on the side of the road. It's a waste of time. The people who are thinking like this, the more and more people who are hearing this message and saying they want to come out of the black race and get a fresh start, a reboot, leaving the black mindset behind, the black mentality behind. That's why we opened up the Republic of Intellect. That's why we doing this. That's why we became Mentalians, because it was a natural thing to do. We stopped being African Americans and Negroes and black people. We left that alone. We are Mentalians of the bright race. Brand new. The new level of thinkers, the next level, the next generation, or the regeneration of thinkers, the next people. Mentalians of the bright race. Within the Republic of Intellect, the bright community. We talking about bright supremacy. We ain't talking about the black race no more, because we are those solar intelligent people. We put the mind first. We put the mind first. We put the mind first in our children and let them know that all we got is each other as a community. We put community over everything. Community is over everything. It's over. It supersedes any religions, any philosophies, any pseudoscience, any of this nonsense that people are telling us that we need. It supersedes that. It supersedes all of these things that people are telling us we need, that we don't. We need a community, a real community, an intelligence community. That's why we refer to ourselves as the bright race, not the black race. We refer to ourselves as the bright race, an intelligence community, the Mentalian community that we are building gradually over time. And we're taking our people who are amongst the black race, the people who are going to keep going in circles, keep on believing that money is going to help them, to keep on believing that politics is going to help them, that keep on believing education is going to help them, and it's not helping you. Because as soon as black people get this education, they got their minds like, oh, I'm too good. I ain't thinking about no community. Community. Right. They trying to get around white people. They trying to get around white people. They trying to, the black man trying to get a white wife, the black woman trying to get a white husband, or they just gonna be some uppity Negroes amongst them to themselves, and they're gonna try to still get around white people. They're gonna make sure their children go to white schools, private schools, and stuff like that, because in their mind, white is better. They're not trying to uplift their people. They're not trying to come together with their people. That's not their mentality. And like I said, we already know the majority of our people are not coming together, so we take the best ones of our people and we moving on with them as a totally different people. We don't want to be associated with nothing black, because y'all basically done destroyed that through selfishness, ignorance, and ego. Y'all done destroyed anything black. Anything that you talking about Pan-African, black power, all that. You see these Negroes, certain people destroying that every day. They destroying that every day, but the mind of the black man and black woman is destructive. It is destructive. I'm going to just be real and raw and uncut with it. It's destructive. Even when they think they're doing the right thing, they still doing the wrong thing. Even when they think, get money, get money, get money, feed your family, feed your family. But at what cost? At what cost are you doing that? Oh, that's right. I'll sell my people. I'll sell drugs to my people. I'll make stupid rap music where I'm telling my people to be lesbians and homosexuals. I'll be in movies where I'm being gay or lesbian, whatever. I'll sell this image to destroy the minds of my people so that I can eat with my family. Because all I'm concerned about is my family. Or I'm not interested in, being a part of any community. I'm not interested in being any part of anything. I just want to be concerned with my children. A certain member of a former member of my organization said that. Right? He said that. He's another delusional Negro because you ain't really got no family, boy. You ain't really got no family. That's your woman's family. That's her family. You about as delusional as all these other black people out here who really believe that their money going to help them, that their education is going to help them, that politics and politicians are going to help you. You just as delusional as they are, boy. You actually believe that ready-made family that you inherited, that you sitting up here like a jackass taking care of, is actually your family. You really believe that. You a fool, just like the majority of black people are fools. Your Oprah Winfrey's, your Jay-Z's, and all these other people, they fools. You can look up to them all you want to and say, oh, they getting that money, they doing this. They ain't doing nothing but giving it back to white people. That's all. They have no power. They have no power. They have no influence. They're nobody. They're getting money just so they can poison their people. You know what they like? They like the roaches that you ever see. This is something exterminators do. Exterminators will have figured out a way to kill all of the rats and the roaches. They will give poison to one head rat, one head roach, and that rat or roach will take it back to the rest of the people and will poison the rest of the rats and roaches and poison the rest of the rats and roaches. They do with these Negroes. That's what their job is. That's what their job is, to poison the minds of their people. That's what they get paid for. They get paid to have a form of benign neglect when it comes to their people. The black woman, when she get education, oh, the black man, you ain't on my level. What am I supposed to do, settle? Yeah, you settled when you got that education. You really did settle. Because in your mind, you really think you accomplished something. You accomplished nothing. You accomplished nothing. All you're going to do with your education is get a job. And once you get that job, all you're going to do is make that money and give it right back to white people. The vicious circle continues. And you're going to have children, maybe little mixed race children, when you get that white guy you want. And you're going to teach your children to be the same way you are. And they're going to go out into the world because they ain't going to be accepted as white. And they're going to go out into the world and they're going to repeat that same circle where they're going to go out there, go to school and long enough to get an education, and they're going to go out here and try to get a job. And there'll be no jobs for them. There'll be no jobs for them. There'll be nothing for them. You understand? Nothing for them. That poor man Bill Cosby worked all them years. They're going to try to bleed him dry. See? They're going to try to bleed him dry. They know he got a lot of money, but they're going to try to bleed that man dry. This man in his damn near in his 80s, and they're going to try to bleed him dry because he valued money. He valued money over community. Right? He valued money over community. When you don't have your people around you, when you don't think it's important to have community around you, you don't got no support. The Jews got support for years, days, forever. They got support. They support each other. They make sure they're going to be all right. Black people, that is the strength of their money. Their support, their community is the strength of their money. Their community is the strength of their education. Their community is the strength of their politics. Without that, none of that means nothing. But y'all still don't want to see that. Y'all still don't want to address that. You don't want to see that. And you'll never see it. Because as black people, you are programmed not to see it. As black people, you are programmed not to see it. You programmed to think that your behavior toward each other is normal. This individualistic mentality, this chasing of the money is normal. You think stabbing each other in the back is normal. That having an individual mindset, not being with each other, not being with your people is normal. Going against your people is normal. Putting people before your people is normal. You think that's normal. I don't know in what world. We'll be right. You know, it never occurs to black people to think, you know what, with all this money I'm making, all this education I acquired, where we get heavy in politics, and you say to yourself, where actually is my power at? Where's my power at? If I'm supposed to be worth $200 million, why can't I go to the bank and take out $200 million of my money? It's my money, right? They say I'm worth $200 million. That means you should be able to go and take out $200 million if you're how much they say you liquid, how much money you got. You should be able to go to the bank and take out the cash that you have. But they ain't going to do that. They'll let you have credit. You can have computer credits, right? You can have extra credit, like in school. Notice that when you they keep always saying credit. Accreditation in school, credit for money, right? You get credit. You get credit because credit makes you credible, right? In your mind, they say credit makes you credible. And then you look at the word incredible, right? Credit makes you great. Being in service to people, and they say you're a credit to your race. Credit. You think these things put you in a special echelon because they tell you that this is all brainwashing. This is all mind control. They convinced you that giving your money that you slave for to them is a great thing. Right? Hand over your money. Because the whole thing of it is really is that they don't want you doing anything with your money like keeping it amongst your community. Right? They talk about the chip all the time, right? They talk about the chip. I'll see your call 203. I'll get you in a second. They talk about the chip all the time. People getting shot with the chip, you know, and they'll say you won't be able to buy or sell if you ain't got the chip in you, you know, the RFID chip. You know why the RFID chip is going to be necessary? Because people who don't belong to a community are considered to be like wild dogs, like wild animals. The people who don't actually belong to communities are like wild dogs and animals. Trust me, everybody ain't getting the chip. I bet you your Jews ain't gonna get it. See, because it's okay if you tell the Jews they're not gonna have any money, even though they'll create their own credit system within the Jewish community, and they'll just trade amongst each other. They'll be like, well, I can do this, you can do that. We'll make our own little money and we'll trade amongst the community. They ain't gotta go outside their community, so they don't need a chip. They go shopping at their own markets. They got farm food coming down to feed them, right? They're going to have some help from Israel. So they ain't got to get no chip if they come down to the RFID chip. They ain't getting that. Just like they ain't got to fight no wars in this country. Ever notice that? They ain't got to do that because they're a real community. They ain't trying to have that. You understand? They're a real community. They can sustain themselves. See, they made their money, as long as they have it, access to it, they really made their money count to build their community. Their money was to build their community. That's all they focused on, as you can see. That's why when that Jew told Polite, he said, look, I can go anywhere in the world, and I can go and stay in somebody's house. We got communities everywhere. And he meant that. What could Polite do but except go, okay, yeah, but what about these rabbis that suck on the baby penis? That's all you could say? That was enough to shut that down right there. What are you talking about? That trumped everything he said. Polite said after that. That trumped everything. If these people are totally independent. They can take care of themselves. You understand? They can take care of themselves. They don't need no chip. They can live. They can trade amongst themselves. Are the so-called conscious and black power people trying to get black people in that mindset? Or they keep trying to tell you that money, get money, get money, get money, education, 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 get some academic accreditations, you know, write these term papers, be a scholar, be a therapist, you know, whatever, or get into politics, you know, because politics won't really do it. Or they feeding us this garbage. They're going to keep feeding you garbage because they part of that sanitation mindset, garbage mentality. Let me take a call. 203. 203. All right, 203. I don't hear nothing. Going once, going twice. All right, nothing from 203. All right. This is the foolishness that black people are pushing to you. So you got to, you know this. Whenever you see black people pushing money, whenever you see them pushing education, whenever you see them pushing politics, the three deadly, what I call the three deadly states of darkness, ignorance. Whenever you see black people pushing that as a end all be all and as a way out for our people, whenever I see people pushing that, notice that they're not for your evolution. They're not about your evolution because they're lying to you. Money's not going to help black people. Y'all got money, and it ain't helped you yet. Education ain't going to help you. You got education. You got educated black people here, and it still ain't help you. Right? Politics ain't going to help you. You had black politicians after the Civil War, all that going up straight into 2016. You had black politicians, and they don't mean nothing. They don't mean anything. So how long you going to keep doing this? How long you going to keep on believing that your vote count? How long you going to keep on believing that your politicians and your city's going to help you? They're not going to help you. They're not going to help you. There's no incentive to help you. There is no incentive to help you. You understand that? There's no incentive to help you. There's no incentive to keep your community alive. But there is an incentive to destroy your community or to destroy anybody who has a community mindset. That's an incentive. Like I told you, when they get the rappers money to make this music that destroys the minds of the children, that's incentive. They sell out to do that. They're getting paid to destroy their people. That's what the whole thing is. When these rappers do that, when these educators do that, when these politicians sell you out, sell out your neighborhood and whatnot, that's what it's all for. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So you can sit up here and say all these things are going to help you all you want to. You only living in that delusional world. You're only living in that delusional world. That world of illusion and delusion. You living in that world. I don't live in that world. I live in a realistic world, a world of reality. People might say, I don't live in the world of reality because I'm talking about some bright race and bright people. We supposed to be black, brother. You talking about bright this and bright that. Yeah, I'm talking about bright this and bright that because that is a reality. That is a reality. A reality that a more smarter, a more intelligent, a more focused and collective community of people will come from amongst the mentally dead black people. Hell yeah, that's a real reality. And it's happening. It's happening. Because the more and more we see the people, the so-called people that's supposed to be representing black people coming together, black power, black unity. More and more we see people making goddamn YouTube spectacles out of themselves, making asses out of themselves. You understand? The so-called black luminaries cussing each other out. You understand? Acting like they're in a damn rap battle. But hey, do what you do. Do what you do. Trust me, I'm not angry. I'm not disappointed. I'm just like, you just proved my point. Everything I've been saying, You guys, like I told you, what did I say about black people? Black people are a perfect example. All they can serve as in this last days and times is being an example of what not to be. The smart ones of our people. Black people serve as a reminder of what we do not want to be and what we do not want for our children. That's what black people are. They are a constant reminder of what we do not want for ourselves or for our children as a new community going forward. It's not the paradigm in which we coming together on. It's not the paradigm. We're not sitting up here telling our people, oh, just aimlessly go out in the world and do nothing. Gave our people a lot of alternatives. I've always said the solution is community, 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 but not us as black people. No community as black people. You got to start all over again, brand new, because too much negativity is attached to black people. And that word black and African and Negro, too much negativity is attached to that. Slavery is attached to that. Civil rights is attached to that. Bedwenching and cooning is tied to that. Too much negativity is tied to black, African, and Negro. No, thank you. We got to start over as a community, an intelligence community, a bright community. New name, new flag, new focus. You understand that? That's what we have to do. That's the solution. I've been saying, people always say, you getting on people, but you don't never get no solution. I've been giving the solution from day one. And the ones of my people who want to be part of the solution, they're going to come with me. The ones of my people who don't, the black people who are not only consider my people no more, to hell with you. To hell with you. To hell with whatever money you get from the white man. To hell with whatever education you get from him. To hell with whatever politics or things he promising you, whatever political nonsense he's going to promise you. To hell with you, man. You ain't about the evolution of our people. Y'all ain't about the evolution of our people. You about getting money for yourself so you can give it back to your slave master. Whether it's on bills, whether it's on clothes, whether it's whatever you throw your money into the matrix for. That's what it's about. You're not interested in the evolution of the people. You're not checking for the evolution of the people. You're going to keep them fed just enough just so they can, and keep them getting fat just so they can depend upon you. And then when you get ready to, the elites and all of them that control this thing here, that control what you eat, control where you work, control your wage, your wage every hour, whatever. They control all that. Once they get tired of you, it's a wrap. Once they get tired of you, it's a wrap. They done. They moving on. And why is this necessary? Because our people just don't get the message. The only thing black people are flush with is pride, ego, false pride, ego, stupidity. Pride, ego, and stupidity. Which ends up being money, politics, and education. Let's try this again with you, 203. 203. 203.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
I'm hearing you.
Yeah, I can hear you. You're breaking up,
brother.
Yeah.
I think I got you double online, man.
Huh?
I'm hearing you double. I got you double.
Okay, you keep coming out and going in. You keep coming in and going out. Hello? All right. You can try back one more time, brother. Yeah. But it comes a time where people are going to have to look at their situation realistically. You're going to have to look at your situation realistically. Once you get out of the YouTube, once you get out of the game plan, once you get out of all that conscious nonsense and all that black power nonsense and all that red, black, and green nonsense, once you get out of that whole Negro nonsense and that American nonsense, and move your mind beyond that and to see where you actually at. To see where you actually at. To see the condition of where we are as a people. When you are able to do that, then you'll be able to see exactly what I've been saying. See, because a lot of our people don't want to see it. They'll get mad at me for bringing this out, for saying what I've been saying. Oh, why he's saying that, who he think he is, and this, that, and the third. Don't worry about who I am. Worry about the very real examples I just shared with you tonight concerning the situation of black people and whether money, education, and politics can actually help them at this point. And the answer is no. The answer is no. I don't care if you got $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, $100 million. It can't help you. It can't. It ain't help Dame Dash. He was worth $200 million, $250 million. Where's money at now? Where's the money? They're going to bleed Bill Cosby dry. They did it to Red Fox. And they're going to do it to all these so-called black people who think they, high on the hog. I'm by myself. I'm for self. I made it on my own. You get it on your own. Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Work real hard and whatnot, and go Tom to the white man like the guy who's telling you did. That's what he's telling you. I'm not going to help you. A lot of you black women and you black men, you would rather help out a white man and hire him in a job and whatnot if you was over it than to help out your own people or choose your own kind. But they ain't going to do that. They're not going to do that. But that's your mentality. That's your mentality. You hate yourself so much that you don't, if let's just say you are the boss of a job or something like that, or you are a supervisor, you won't promote another so-called black person that look like you onto your level because you feel as though that person going to be coming after your job or whatever the case may be. You can only be one black person here, whatever the case may be. Right? And this is what you fall for. This is what you go for. This is what you get into. Again, this is pretty dismal. The outcome of this is going to be pretty dismal. Black people always talking about they ain't got no money. You got money for what you want to have money for. You got money for what you want to have money for. So don't believe it when black people tell you, oh, I ain't got no money. I ain't got it like that. Yeah, you do. You always got money. You got money for the Louis Vuitton bag, yet you'll spend $400 on a bag that cost the Louis Vuitton company maybe $10 to make. You spend $500-$600 on it, and you don't care. And like I said, y'all won't spend no money with each other because as soon as somebody doing business with you, spend money. Oh, well, what you doing with my money? You charging me too much? Why I gotta pay for it? Can I get a hookup? Or yo, why can't I just walk out with it? Why I can't be free? Yeah. Heard it all before. This is why, like I said, separation is key and necessary. The bright race from the black. So let me go ahead and read these questions before we get out of here. Can money, education, and politics help black people at this point? No. No, they can't. Look at the people who got money. Has it done anything for them? You be honest. Other than put them in a mansion, put them in a car. And like I said, I know to a lot of you Negroes, that's the world. That means that's the end all be all. That means the world. F what you talking about. I could travel around the world. I got a car. I got a mansion. F what you talking about. But see, here's the thing. Once you done traveled around the world and rode your car and lived in your mansion, you're going to come back down to earth. And people are watching you. These people are watching you. Waiting for you to slip up, say the wrong thing, whatever. Because a lot of these people, these white people, they don't think you should have nothing. A lot of you black men and black women, they think you should be on your ass broke. That you shouldn't have nothing. They don't want to see you with two or nothing. They'd rather be killing you than seeing you winning, as you say. Why do black people think it can help them? Because you've been trained to think that way. You've been brainwashed into believing that money can help you. Because you're looking at white people with money, and you're seeing them do things, and you want to be just like them. So you think that the money can help you. And it can't. It can't. What can black people, what can help black people? Community. Real community, but not as black people. Not as black people. Because if you have a community is black people, and you don't go under another name, you're going to totally attract the same black people you had when there was disunity. You're going to attract them, and they're going to come, like I said, because once you put out that call for black people, Pan-African, Negroes, whatever, these people are going to come. They're going to come and destroy what you're building. because it's intrinsically in them to be destructive. They've been taught how to be destructive, and inside them is, they have that bomb of wanting to set things off, be destructive, right? Why are black people pushing these things as the answer? Because they got nothing else. They have nothing else, absolutely nothing else. They have to push this as the only answer, the final answer, because if they have to admit that they don't have anything, that money, can't do anything from them, they feel helpless. And no grown person wants to ever feel helpless, right? No grown person ever wants to feel helpless. They want to feel like they're in control of their life, and you're not. You're not. If you're driven by money, education, and politics, you're not in control. Somebody else is in control of your life, right? What will all of this lead to in the future? The end of black man, the end of black woman, and the beginning of the bright man and the bright woman, where some of our people are going to evolve into that race of bright people, that bright race of people, that solar intelligent race of people. And like I said, I know a lot of you guys say, what's this bright race thing? We black, look at our skin. Your skin is actually brown. And then somebody said, well, why don't you call us brown people then? Well, I said, no, I'm going to have to call you brown people because it's not about how your skin is on the outside. If you have a different shade of brown than you anyway than the rest of the brown people. So to call you brown would be looping you into another group, into other people. When you are a special people unto yourself, you are a people with a solar plex, whereas others do not have it. So this is why I refer to you as the bright race. Our skin is not black. It's actually reddish brown. It's more shade of red. You understand? A reddish brown. We come in many different forms of red. And that's reminiscent of the fire. That's why our skin has a reddish tone to it. All of our skin. From the light skin to the lightest to the dark skin to the darkest, there's a tone of red there that gives us that brown to beige complexion. Right? And that's it. Join us Friday night for the next ᴘᴏ Radio broadcast. I am your host, the intellectual ᴘᴏɪ�ᴄ. This has been ᴘᴏ Radio. Good night.
It's the Republic of Mentellect, rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. It's the Republic of Mentellect, black race to the white race. If it's hell, and then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you. The infinite capabilities that we